Okay, here we go. Let's do a test. I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh my god, what the fuck? Okay, just be yourself. Be yourself. Okay. Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of I Am Not Your Story. Oh wait, fuck, I fucked it. Fuck. Okay. Take two. Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of I Am Not My Story. So I was thinking of like something to do one night with my roommate, and I was like, you know what? I should totally start a podcast. And here we are in the comfort of my bedroom. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things that have happened in my life ever since I was like young. So, going from childhood to basically now. I think that my story needs to be put out there and shared because I know that people are going to relate to what I have experienced in my life. So basically, I'm going to be covering a lot in this episode about basically growing up. I don't remember a lot, but just bear with me. Growing up was difficult. My parents were divorced at 7 years old. I don't remember much up until that point. Honestly, come to think of it, I think the biggest struggle was to watch my father be with someone else. There was multiple, I wouldn't say multiple other women. It was more so partners who I thought could be a step mother, even though I had my mother. I honestly, I feel like there was so much that I haven't even been told in my mum and dad's marriage and why they decided to part ways. So I guess I'm not really where to start. So when they got divorced, I lived with my mum for about 18 months. And then I remember going to school in Queensland for a little bit of time. And then basically, I had my brother with me, who is 4 years older than me, married, got another baby on the way. So I've got a nephew and also got another baby coming on the way. We were really close growing up, and then as soon as we kind of became adults, we drifted apart, uh, which totally sucked. Um, but I guess growing up, I felt like that I grew up too much. I had the responsibility of uh, getting a part-time job while I was still in high school. Uh, and even before that, honestly, there's so much to like pinpoint, but I feel like I'm missing so much. But I'm just gonna like roll with it. You know what? Let's just roll with it. Uh, okay, before I get into that part, so when I was younger, I had the choice to live with my mum and dad. So I lived with my mum for 18 months, and then me and my brother decided, well, my brother decided that he wanted to go live with my father. So I was with my father for 10 years. Um, I had to experience other partners that my dad was dating, which was difficult. It wasn't easy. Um, having other people, like being with your father, like I never like could accept it. Eventually, you know, to this day, like my dad's remarried and, like good for him, but we don't speak anymore. But uh, I'll get to that part later on. So I live with my dad, and my dad's ex-Navy. So growing up was definitely difficult. Um, I know like sharing this side is going to, point some heads. But I'm putting my story out there, and if people don't agree with it, people don't agree with it. So it is what it is. Anyway, so if I didn't have my way, at some point I would get. Oh, we froze. Okay, we're back. At some point, if I didn't get my way, I would get cold showers. I would get the wooden spoon. Threatened with a belt. Was never hit with the belt. As far as I remember, probably the wooden spoon on the back of the knuckles. That hurt like hell. Cold shower. And I remember having cold showers when I was like 10. That was a horrible experience. I'm just trying to think of what else, besides like, the good points. But growing up, I think I felt like I didn't have a chance to be a child. So in saying that, I feel that when, I went through like primary school, it was okay. There were, friends that once I got to high school, things changed. I, lost friends, gained friends. And I'm still friends with a few other people that I went to high school with. Reconnected with people that I went to high school with. Reconnected to people that actually bullied me in high school. Uh, High school was, I loved school. Like I did art, photography, English, and the basic subjects, science and PE and whatever. But you know, this one time in class, my best friend, who I'm still friends with, but we talk from time to time. She has like four kids, I think 5 kids now. I can't keep track, but she was getting picked on, so I called out to the person that was picking on her. I was like, look, you don't need to be, saying that. Like, leave her alone. And then I copped it. And then there was a lot of rumors about me, like, certain things that I did this or I did that. Um, I was a kid, like, regardless of what was said. Um, I didn't know, like, if that was a good thing, and the whole lesbian rumors, and then turns out in 2010 was when I ended up coming out as bi, even though I'd never really experienced anything with another female. And there were times in high school where I honestly felt like that I didn't really fit in. I was just kind of like there, I didn't really like, I felt like that I didn't really know who my true friends were. And like, there were times where I would be crying on the way home from school, and I hated being treated the way I got treated, with rumors and just boys saying nasty things, and it was such a hard time. And my dad, he didn't really know much about it. But when I told him, I was like, I'm getting bullied at school. And, he was there to be like, do you want me to come up to the school and, uh, talk to the principal and the deputy? Like, not like the school would do shit. Like, at the time that, I was at high school, I felt like the school didn't really take much of like the bullying very like serious at the time. Like, that's what I believe. Um, I think that all of that got to the point where I was constantly, always kind of, still putting a smile on my face, but yet I would be in my room all the time. I would play games like Sims or any of my other games that I used to play. And, at one time it got too much, and I wanted to, you know, unalive myself because it got so much. I hated it, and I got bullied quite a lot uh, about a lot of different things. And then I couldn't do it anymore, and I called a friend um, when I was in like so much like distress and upset, and she kind of saved my life. So gosh, I wish I could remember her name, but to that girl, that phone call, like, you saved my life, and I thank you for that. Uh, so I guess, going through all that and having my mom in a different state, like, I was in Sydney and she was in the Gold Coast, and I grew up in a town called Nowra. Oh, we froze. Okay, we're back. I'm using my webcam at the moment because I don't have my like camera, and I can't see myself with my camera, so that's why I'm using my webcam. So yeah. Anyway, after all that happened, uh, year 10 was like shit, and then new year, year 11 started. And then, first start, you, me, let's get through the last 2 years. Halfway through year 11, all the bullying started back up again. I broke down. One of the teachers was like yelling at me, and I'm like, bro, like, I'm literally like so tired of these boys picking on me, and I had enough. And then that's when I spoke to my dad, and I was just in tears and said that I wanted to move and be with my mum because it was shit. So I had to wait until I was 17 to leave school because that was the legal age to leave. I did try to go for like work experience for like a job. Didn't really work out. I then moved to Queensland in 2012 after I turned 17. So a week after I turned 17. I do remember the date. Oh, excuse me. She knows. And then basically after that, I packed everything up, getting ready to move. I was upset about like leaving my friends and my like good friends who I'm still like in touch with. I think going through that, I guess I don't know how to put it. It's when I think back to it, I guess I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And dealing with all of that, of like having to grow up fast as a kid, I felt like that I didn't really have, I just feel like my childhood was such a blur and then I grew up too fast. Yeah, I'm maybe 28, but I feel like, my inner child is still wanting to like be a child. Um, I've just taken so much responsibility ever since I left being with my dad for, 10 years, like dealing with my first period at 14, I believe, and having to tell my dad and having to tell my dad's partner because, somebody didn't have my mum around. Like, hey, I don't know, like, I think I'm having my period. And then my dad was like, oh, congratulations on being a woman. Like that was kind of like funny part. Uh, anyway, dealing with that and then moving and, a lot of people didn't agree with my decision, but I did it for my own, mental state, even though I was, so depressed and upset with the way that people were treating me at the time. Uh, it just, I don't know, like, like I don't regret my decision on moving to Queensland. I don't. So I left, packed everything up, moved in with my mom and uh, my mom's partner. Obviously, I was still, I was only 17, but like I felt like that things were still, I don't know how to put it. I was considering going back to high school. But I changed my mind. I decided to get a job. Got a job at Target. Spent I think a year there. And then got another job. Was working 2 jobs at the time, even though I was not getting many hours at Target. So I ended up reapplying for KFC, which was my original job. And then basically worked there for like 3 years. Was going to go do hairdressing. That didn't go ahead. And after that, okay, well, let's just stop. I'm having a mental breakdown in my brain. Hold on. Oh my god. My brain isn't braining. My brain isn't braining, guys. Yeah, so going to 2 jobs, and then I wasn't getting enough hours at one, so I ended up going full, like, it wasn't even full-time hours, it was like permanent part-time. And I wanted to go up more, but that never happened. So there was a manager that was like being a bit funky towards me. Anyway, I don't really want to expose too much about what happened because it's very like, I don't know, I felt like that I was kind of, even though I was, what, 19, I think, or 20, I felt like that I was kind of getting sexually, like, not assaulted, but like harassed, but in like a sexual way from my manager. It was just a bit weird. And then I had another manager that basically was a total horrible person, like yelled at me across the store. Like, you don't yell at your employee across the store, like you pull them aside and you tell them what they've done wrong. You don't just like shout it across like the whole store so then people can hear you. Like, who does that? And then I sent in a written report about them, and then I don't know what happened towards the end of that, but I think they ended up going to another store or like getting the sack or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, I ended up leaving that job eventually, trying to find a new one. I got into doing a lot of like online stuff, so I started doing like social media in 2014, I believe. I stayed with my mom for like a year and a bit. And then things just weren't going right. And so I decided to move out and then took up the habit of smoking the cigarettes. You know, YOLO, you only live once. Yep. Other influences of that, but hey, shit happens. Life goes on. Correct. And then did a bit of drinking, but it wasn't overly excessive. surprisingly, but I did it. Had my first relationship at 18. Uh, he, I guess that was, yeah, I mean, it only lasted 2 months. And then yeah, felt fucking, honestly felt depressed about that. And then found out that a best friend at the time got with him. And I was heartbroken because of that. Um, we've forgiven each other, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, went through that, moved out, uh, dealt with a whole bunch of like shitty people, like living housemates. Um, dealt with a lot of like narcissistic people, like home violence, screaming, yelling, blood everywhere. Uh, dealt with another thing. Had to move back in with my mom. Uh, even prior to that, as I was saying, I did the social media thing. Started filming YouTube videos. Started filming vines and just kind of posting on like social media. Like I didn't even like expect too much out of it. Not like it really got me anywhere, but um, I did it just fun, and then I just felt like it was my outlet. And then I think 2016, I 2016 I took up photography. In the process of that, after my 21st birthday, I believe, my grandpa passed away. So that was pretty shit. Um, having to deal with that. And I feel like that's when the family kind of went a bit funny, especially on my dad's side. And I've always been like the black sheep of the family, like, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You have to have a 9 to 5 job, or like, it's not that I don't, you know, like, I just felt like that my dad, on the other hand, not so much my mom, wanted me to have the dream that he wanted. Um, and after that, I did all the social media stuff, and then I wasn't really getting any like work, so I decided to move to Brisbane. Brisbane, lived in a house with 4 kids, uh, 3 adults. Um, one of those people actually turned into a relationship, which I guess lasted for 3 years. There was abuse in the relationship. There was financial abuse. There was physical, mental, everything, you name it. Uh, it took me a long time to realize it. A lot of people could see the way, like my friends were telling me, like, you like, why do you put up with like his shit, and why do you have to, I don't know, like at the beginning I thought it was, everything. But then I started to realize that one time, that's when things got more intense and more horrible. It was like my worst nightmare coming true. I never wanted to experience abuse, physical abuse, ever in a relationship, and it happened. Being pushed against a wall, being locked outside, screaming because I wanted to be let back in. I got locked outside. I got hit multiple times, yelled at, constantly being told what to do, um, having to like help support the relationship because he just didn't want to help himself, and I was like the provider, and it turned into like mental, physical, financial abuse, and people were seeing that, and family, friends even saw that, and and then I had to make the decision to end the relationship. The way that it ended was over text. It wasn't meant to be over text. It was meant to be in person, but I was afraid. The way that he was talking to me over text was very threatening to me. So I had to do that. Um, I ended the relationship. I guess that we took, some time apart. There were a few times before I ended it. I would go see him a few times. Um, so I was kind of on my own, and then I moved forward. There was just constant yelling, screaming. Um, it was just a really shitty time, and I'm so grateful that I got out of that relationship. Because I don't know where I would be today if I didn't get out of that relationship. Toxic relationships are very difficult, um, especially when you are like being controlled uh, by your partner, whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. Um, I started to kind of pick up where I left, started doing my photography more, and had to move again, moved back on the other side of town, and then I had to move again. Um, I think that dealing with a domestic violence relationship takes time to heal from. It definitely has taken me time to heal. And I've noticed a lot of the red flags in people that I've come across who are no longer in my life, and I know when to cut that person off, whether it be like partners, whether it be friends, anybody. You shouldn't allow someone to treat you that way, regardless. Yeah, you may love them, but if someone loves you, they wouldn't treat you that way. Um, so I moved house. I still have my cat that I adopted in the time that I was still in the relationship. Um, I had time to heal that part of me, during COVID, and like that was a pretty hard time, like being stuck with someone who like literally abuses you every fucking day. Um, and then being on my own, getting my life back together. I did start drinking wine for a bit, even smoking cigarettes again. Uh, it was definitely a hard time, like having friends who I kept pushing aside because, I didn't mean to treat them that way because I was in, obviously with a person who was controlling me into being that toxic person. When you're with someone for so long, you kind of pick up those traits and then you reflect it onto people that, like, who are your friends, and it's not a good feeling. Uh, After living in the house that I was living in, it was being bought by developers and the house getting sold off, so I had to move again. I then moved in with a friend who is no longer my friend anymore. Um, and I moved in with her for some time. And yeah, I couldn't take the cat with me, which was devastating. Um, Long story short, I had to just let the cat go after some time. Um, miss him, I do. It was a cute cat. Um, Honestly, I don't know. I'm just thinking back of the fact of where I am today and going through all of that, growing up way too fast, dealing with a domestic violence relationship. It just goes to show how strong I am and that my story doesn't define me, and that I want to help other people know that you can get out of any situation if you have the support of people that do love you. You can leave those situations, whether it be relationships with your parents, brothers, siblings, whoever it may be, if they're toxic, regardless if they're blood or not. Leave, get to a safe place. Honestly, it will do your mental state so much better. It did so much better for me. It took time. It takes time to heal from stuff like that. But I want people to know that you are not alone. And a lot of people go through these things, especially divorce, toxic relationships, whoever it may be. Just know that you can get out of it, and you will heal from that situation. Just have the support of people who really have good intentions. Um, and if there is anybody listening to this who has or is going through these situations in their life, please reach out. This will be posted on my YouTube channel, my old YouTube channel, and also on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify, please reach out. Social media links will be available